I did speak this morning already on the what you call the three operational layers. Then I'll be focused a bit on some themes and solutions that we can focus on when we're discussing building security and resiliency in the internet, and then focus a bit on what we call collaborative security, because we cannot solve all these challenges by ourselves. So we need to work with others. And then, of course, there will be opportunity to ask questions as well. So here you have this whole three operational layer thing again. I did put it again because it's very important when we're talking about cybersecurity issues or bringing resiliency, security in the internet. It's very important for us to know on which level we are talking. There are basically three levels, as I already mentioned. So we can have the level of infrastructure. So you can focus a lot on the infrastructure. You can have the next level, which is the domain name system itself. And then on the highest level, you can have also all the applications that we normally use. So we need to keep this in mind whenever we are talking about keeping the internet safe, then on which area or which level we are talking. So again, infrastructure, domain name system itself, or application. So without further ado, let me go straight into this. Basically, we have, if you would like to address, let's say, cybersecurity issues, we have 8 areas that we normally have to focus on. You may have seen a lot of cybersecurity strategies for a given country, but if they don't cover in one way or the other these 8 areas, then they lack something. We need to have these 8 areas because this is the, in addition to, let's say, legislation, which is also very important because remember, given that we are living in a given jurisdiction, we cannot have, let's say, general overarching, let's say, laws or legislation. So we need to have laws that are applicable in our own country, but we need to collaborate with other countries. So that is why it's very important for us to focus on these 8 areas. If you look at, let's say, threats that we are seeing out there with regard to cybersecurity, maybe you have heard of the malware, malicious software, botnets, phishing, denial of service. All these are threats that we are seeing out there nowadays. One thing that is also very important, whenever we use the internet, and sometimes people don't really realize this, whenever you use the internet or whenever you connect a given device to the internet, it becomes part of the global internet. So nowadays with Internet of Things, all the devices that we are connecting to the internet, they are becoming part of the global internet. So that is why it's very important that we need to secure all these devices as well. So when we talk about cybersecurity themes, we need to look at these 8 areas. I think I did present this once already in St. Vincent, if I'm not mistaken, but let me focus on it. So first, we need to secure what we call the link. And I'll be explaining that in a while, what I mean with that. We need to secure the telecommunication infrastructure itself. We need to secure the internet. We need to secure computers or smart devices that we're using. We need to secure what we call the applications that we're using, securing data, securing identity, and we need also to secure essential services. Yes. Let's start with a link. If you look at the history of the internet, it was developed in what we call an environment of trust. So back then you had all these researchers, they trusted each other. So there was no reason to focus on security because this whole internet thing was developed in a trusted environment. So that is why the internet doesn't have any security mechanism originally embedded into it. And this can cause some problems or challenges because it's not only, for example, the researchers are using the internet, but nowadays others are using the internet as well. And it's the same as you're living on an island, only you on that particular island. There is no reason to focus on security. But if you know that others can have access to that island, then you need to find a way how to secure your island. And this is the same thing with the internet. So nowadays, a lot of people are using it. So that is why we need to secure the link. If you look at the internet, what it is, the internet is the business of sending packets from one network to the other. And it doesn't matter what all these packets are. These packets can contain, for example, video. They can contain emails, voice, doesn't matter. We are talking about a business of sending packets from one network to the other. So while we're using sending packets from one network to the other, we are using what we call the link. So that is why we need to secure this link. This is the reason why we need to secure the link. It's the same like if I got this picture on Airbnb, and I think I like it because it's the same like if you are in an ocean and you have, there are a lot of, let's say, sharks out there in the ocean. But if you can manage to secure yourself, for example, in a house, underwater house or whatever, then it doesn't matter what the sharks are doing because you are in a secure environment. And this is the same thing with the link, secure the link. And we can use encryption to secure the link. So while the link is in an environment, in an unsecure environment, still by using some technologies, we can use it in a secure way. And there are a few ways how we can do this. The technology behind it is what we call encryption. What encryption does is the same if you compare with what these two persons are doing here. They are in the ocean. You have a lot of sharks out there, but given that they are in a protected, in a secure environment, nothing can happen with them. So that's the same thing with encryption. It's like you're forming a tunnel. And there are a few levels on which you can secure, on which you can apply encryption. For example, the first one is what we call secure on the data layer, and then you have some technology, MACsec, Wi-Fi protected access. You can also encrypt on what we call, those of you who are more familiar with it, this OSI model, then they can recognize this. On the IP layer, then we can use the IPsec. And then on the application layer, then you can use all the SL, TLS, etc., etc. Securing the telecommunication infrastructure itself. Remember, it's very important. If you don't have telecommunication infrastructure, you don't have internet neither. And here we can secure, let's say, what we call the offices, where you have all the telecommunication infrastructure, not infrastructure, exchanges, equipment. And it's also very important for you to secure the cables that we are using. Most of our Caribbean islands, cables are just out there. You can almost touch them. So basically we are asking for trouble, maybe in an environment where vandalism is not that high, you would not find yourself in much problem. But if that's not the case, then we are just asking for problems. So while you're focusing on keeping the, let's say, equipment secure, if the physical cables are not secured, then still we have a problem. And another thing that we need to focus on is how to secure the internet itself. And basically, there are two ways how we can do this. The internet is also the business of, let's say, domain names. Albert did mention this this morning. So you have all these domain names that the domain name system, the DNSSEC, what it does is just to translate names in relevant numbers. We call them IP addresses. So we need to find a way how to protect all these names. And I think Albert did mention this morning, DNSSEC. So DNSSEC is one of the technologies that you can use to protect the names. What it does is, if I would like to go, for example, to the website roxanne.com, by applying DNSSEC, I'm sure I will reach roxanne.com and not roxanne.tt, for example. So that's all what DNSSEC is about. In addition to the names, we have also what we call the routes in the internet. Remember, the internet is a lot of networks interconnected. That forms, let's say, the global internet that we are using nowadays. So, and the internet is also the business of sending packets from one network to the other. So in order for us to send packets from one network to the other, we are using a given route. And we need to protect that route as well. And that's what there is a technology called RPKI, Research Public Key Infrastructure. What it does is to ensure that the route that you're using, that's the correct route, and not, let's say, sending packets to another undefined route. So when we talk about securing the internet infrastructure, we are talking then about securing the domain names. And here we can use or apply what we call DNSSEC, domain name system with security extension, or we can apply for the routes what we call RPKI, Research Public Key Infrastructure. And then, so basically, I already did mention it. In order for us to secure the internet, the infrastructure, we use DNSSEC and we use RPKI. Then we have, we need to secure our computers and smart devices that we are using nowadays. Because basically on all these devices, we have relevant and very important data. So we don't want others to get access to our data. And nowadays, data is very, very important. So this is also straightforward. We need to find ways how to protect the smart devices, our computers that we are using. And you can use all kinds of passwords to protect your device in order for people not to get access to your device. In order for us to protect, let's say, our computer and smart devices, we can also use firewalls. And we can use also what we call end-user protection, anti-malware, or antivirus, let's say, software. And here you have a bunch of them. A lot of organizations are focusing on this. Some of the well-known are, for example, Norton, Kaspersky, F-Secure, and so on and so on. But the key message, we need to find ways how to protect our computer, our smart devices that we are using. We need to find ways also to protect what we call the applications that we're using. Most of us are using nowadays let's say WhatsApp. That's one of the applications. If you see there, in 2016, in just 1 minute, almost 21 million people or messages were sent within 1 minute with WhatsApp. If we look at Facebook, a bit more than 700,000 logins in just 1 minute. If we look at Netflix, for example, almost 70,000 hours watched in 1 minute. So all these are applications that we are using. Now, the truth is that these companies, for example, Netflix, Facebook, Google, they protect their own systems as well. So that's we can assume that they are protect their own system as well. But if you're using your applications on your own system, for example, one application could be email, then you need to find ways how to protect these emails that you're using. So again, application is also very, very important. So what I'm trying to do here, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's I'm focusing on 8 areas that we need to find ways how to focus on. And if we can focus on all these 8 areas, embed them, for example, in a given document, and then we can, at least we have this whole cybersecurity thing under control, or at least we are knowing what the threats are. Okay, so we go with the next one. I didn't mention it, but for example, emails, most of us are using emails, and almost 90% of the emails that you're using on a daily basis are spam. So that is why spam filters nowadays are also very important, because most of the emails are just spam. We need also the second one, web application firewalls, in order for us to protect the applications that we're using. Data, everything is about data nowadays. Data is the new oil. They call it the new oil. If you look at all these malware, malicious software attacks that we have seen during last year and also this year, all these were focusing, how can I get access to your data? Because data is everything. Data is the new oil. And data has a given value as well. Nowadays, let's say hackers, they are much more smarter than back then. And back then, people or hackers, they were, or hackers, thieves, or whatever you may call them, they would, let's say, assault, let's say, a bank, a commercial bank. But nowadays, people are much, much smarter. So it's much easier for them just to try to get access to your data, and then just to ask you to pay a fee in order for them to release your own data. So you see, also in this regard, the business is changing. Back then, with all these thieves, if they're trying to assault a bank, for example, the police can kill them, people can see them, caught them on cameras. So they're not doing this nowadays. Nowadays, it's much easier. Just try to get get your access to your data, and then ask you, let's say, a ransom in order for you to get it back. Also, very important is what we call identity. Whenever you go online, whenever you go on a website or whatever, we leave, you or I, we leave, let's say, what we call traces behind. And this is the way how, for example, people from law enforcement can catch all these people that are doing strange things on the internet. Most of the time, they're not aware. We are just clicking on everything, and we are accepting everything. But the same as you have an identity, we do have an online identity as well, and we need to find ways how to protect this. For example, if you look at Facebook, I'm on Facebook as well, but I don't post all details on Facebook. If you see what people are posting on Facebook, that's incredible, you know. So you're just asking for problem. You're just asking you're giving away in a very easy way all your information that people can form a real profile of that particular person and commit harm to you. Remember, this is a very bad world. Things are happening, so we need to find ways how to protect yourself. So use all these social media, Facebook, etc., but don't post everything and with the exact hour. I'll be in St. Vincent from let's say from Tuesday to Friday or whatever. So there's no one at home. You know, you're asking for problems. So the second one would be, as I mentioned, securing data. Everything is data. So and also your privacy. So this can be done in a very or let me put it like this. Most of the actions we can take measures ourselves. As I did mention a while ago, don't put everything out there, you know. So leave some space for people to speculate what is going on. Don't give them, don't make it that easy for them. And then last, this is a very short presentation. And then last is what we call securing essential services. So each country, territory should decide for themselves what is important to them. If you're living, for example, in an environment where the financial sector is very important, then the financial sector will become essential service to you. So you need to find ways how to protect that. For most of us, electric, gas, and electric and water for sure are essential services. So all these power and water, let's say, companies, they too should find ways how to protect these natural, how to protect their infrastructure. And we have seen out there some people. I didn't focus much on this, but some people are doing this for a business. They are trying to hack your system, get access to your data for a business. But others are doing it just for fun. You know, it's fun to see how I can break the DNS, how I can break, I'm not sure if Albert's still in the room, how I can break Albert's DNS, let's say ICANN's DNS. So that's just fun. And what we have seen also, these organizations, big organizations, they also giving, let's say, they are organizing sometimes some competition, and for people to try to break their systems. And they will also give them a given amount of money if they were able to break into their system. So by doing this, they're trying to protect their systems as well. So this is the same thing that we should be doing with, for sure, electric and water, let's say, companies. If these are essential services to us, we need to focus on those. So again, this was a very short presentation, but the key message that I would like to leave with you is, the key message that I would like to leave with you is, if we would like to focus on how we can enhance, let's say, the internet that we are using nowadays, then we need to focus on these 8 areas. We need to focus on the link, because remember, back then it didn't have any security mechanism into it. We need to secure on the telecommunication infrastructure, because without telecommunication infrastructure, we don't have internet neither. We need to focus on the internet itself, and here we're talking about the names and the routes that we're using. We need to focus on the computers or smart devices that we are using. We need to focus on the applications that we're using. We need to secure the data that we have on our machines, on our, let's say, our smart devices, computer, and so on. We need to secure our own identity. That's in order to protect ourselves, because we do have an online identity. And then finally, on a national level, we need to define what are the essential services for us, and we should find also ways how to secure all those. Within internet society, for example, we have what we call the collaborative security approach. So with this approach, we are aware that we cannot solve all the challenges by ourselves. So that is why we do work with, let's say, governments. We work with academia. So here you have all the bright minds. We work with a technical community, and also not to forget the civil society that can give you some very useful information and suggestions on what to focus on. So with this, I think I did cover this presentation, how we can focus on that. And as I did mention this morning, I think it's very useful if you can identify maybe one challenge that you're facing in your own country. If you look at all these 8 areas that I mentioned, but just focus on 1 or 2 areas, and with the local chapter, start making that a project, start focusing on that. And by doing so, I think in a very structural way, we will be addressing all the challenges that we are facing. Okay, so with that, thank you very much.
All right. We'd like to thank you very much, Mr. Osepa, for guiding us in that presentation, building resilience and